July 6th. I'm John Muller.
And I'm Kirsten Cole. Everybody dealing with that 4th of July hangover, trying to stretch that long weekend out, right?
Yeah.
And then we've got all these weather issues going on. I got pounded with thunderstorms on the way in this morning. Heard them in the overnight hours.
Yeah, they were roaring and really just like flickering all night. And so we will deal with some of that moving into our weekend as well. We do have a weather alert in place, and this is because of the extreme heat that we are expecting to roll through for our Saturday. Look at that thickness of those clouds, that layer of clouds just really taking over our area. And so in addition to the heat, we'll have these muggy conditions in place. And also, we do have some sprinkles coming down there. I'll be talking about the chance for showers and storms remaining in our forecast. We're going to go ahead and get to some temperatures here. And if you take a look, we do actually, let's start with our watches and warnings because of the temperatures. All of this orange highlighted area, we do have a heat advisory in place. And this is because we can expect to have those heat indexes get anywhere from 95 to 100 degrees. South of the area, we are talking Somerset, Middlesex, Monmouth, as well as Mercer County. We do have an excessive heat warning in place where our heat indexes, what it feels like, could reach anywhere from about 100 to 110 degrees. These do not lift until this evening. Right now, temperatures are in the 70s, so not too bad. But when we look at and talk about this humidity, completely different ball game. We are all the way up on the scale there. A quick look at our radar here shows showers pushing through the area. We do have some hail coming down near North Bergen. I'm going to go ahead and take more of a look into that for you this morning. Otherwise, expect it to be hot and very humid. 92 degrees for our highs today, and those showers and storms off and on again in nature throughout our Saturday. More details on your forecast coming up, but for now, back to you.
Thank you so much, Star. Meanwhile, friends, and
humid tomorrow, and then we move into the start of next week. Temperatures remaining in the 80s as well as the 90s. Back to you.
Star, thank you. All right, coming up, it is
New York's very own PIX11 has Baker's Weed. Local news, sports, weather, traffic, and we continue to be New York's fastest growing matcha. And see why we're growing.
how hot and just how humid it's going to get.
I played tennis yesterday in this humidity.
Crazy. Yes.
Well, we knew that. This cements it. But
we're confirming it.
I mean, I felt like I was playing tennis like in a sauna.
Yes.
It's just, and you know, you feel it when you're breathing and when you're working hard, and
Yes, and if you don't have lungs like Kirsten, you need to sit down somewhere. But yeah, it's been in place. Yes, so good job there. Taking breaks from this humidity, but also making sure you're taking a look outside right now at the PIX Plaza, and things are starting to get a little wet out there. We did have a shower to push across early this morning, and that's going to be the case through our Saturday, where we are expecting to see some of that pop-up shower and the possibility of some storms across some of the area. Our biggest issue today in the weather department is going to be the extreme heat we have potential to see. We do have a few watches and warnings in place. You'll see that stretched across portions of the Hudson Valley, seeping over into Connecticut, across our boroughs, and a good chunk of northwest Jersey, where we have heat advisory. It could fill anywhere from about 95 to 100 degrees. South of the area, we're talking portions of central and south Jersey. It could fill anywhere from about 100 to 110 degrees, and this is going to be in place until about 8 o'clock tonight. Of course, our sun and sand report does show our waves along the Jersey Shore 2 to 5 feet. Long Island Sound just a little calmer, 1 to 2 feet. UV index very high, and of course moderate to high rip currents. Here's a look at that day planner. Temperatures topping off 92 degrees today. Hot and humid out there with a few pop-up showers. I'll be talking more about what your weekend holds, but for now, John and Kirsten, back to you.
All right, Star.
Thank you so much, Star. We're going to go to our
at the seaport, bringing the beach to the city today for this patriotic festival. It takes place through tomorrow. Now take a look at this video from the festival last year, and you'll see what the vibe is. Some of those adult beverages we mentioned. Also find the full lineup of music and performers on the seaport's website. Coming up in the next half hour, we are going to speak with an organizer of this year's event, and she's going to tell us all about what you get.
It was off the hook.
Can I
get some?
No, can I tell you that I eat my hot dogs plain? How boring is that?
John,
embarrassing.
me and you at opposite ends of the spectrum again.
Chilly might be nice, though.
Yes. Not getting so lucky with sort of all the stuff that's rolling through town. Meteorologist Star Harvey here.
Yeah, no, I'd say not on the lucky side. Once again, we do have a mixed bag of weather conditions to get through for the first half of your weekend here. I can tell you conditions today very similar to where we were yesterday. Yesterday, we did see our temperatures come in the 80s, a few 90s scattered across the area as well. LaGuardia, Central Park, as well as Newark there. Newark made it to 91 degrees. Today, most of us getting our way into the 90s as well. We will see some of those cooler conditions, especially along our coasts there. So if you're along the North Shore, South Shore, along Connecticut as well, expect to see some 70s in the mix. Inland, the further inland you go, things are going to feel a little bit more on the hot side. As far as this rain situation today, here's an active look. We did have a shower or two push across the city a little bit earlier this morning. I'd say about an hour and a half ago. But as you can see, this weather continues to push off to the north and east of us. So if you were across the Twin Forks area, likely seeing some of that flickering of that lightning going on there, and also across Stanford, Bridgeport, likely to continue to see that go on for the next hour or so. Otherwise, we do have a trough in the area. It's what's helping aid in all of this nasty weather today, and then that stationary front lifting across the area as well. We do have some relief that will pour in, and it comes with our front sitting out to the west of us. We'll be happy when that does get here. In the meantime, expect those on and off again shower chances throughout our Saturday here. No washouts of the sort. However, when we make it to tonight, we'll remember that we will have those clouds remain in place, likely to see some of that fog holding on as well, and temperature wise will be in the 70s, so another mild evening on tap for us here. Now, the good news is that once we make it to tomorrow, the ending of our weekend, we will get a break from the sun. We do have that front that gets closer, that low pressure coming in, and what's happening is that all of that air pushing in there is going to allow for a little bit of some relief. Humidity wise tomorrow, things are going to feel a lot better as well. You'll see today we do sit in the oppressive region. As we move down to tomorrow, you'll see that we will be down on that scale there, so a lot more dry than what we are seeing today. Now, moving into our work week, things are going to be hotter, but I can tell you that humidity going to be washing away. Here's a quick check-in on your 7-day forecast. Another chance at some more showers moving into the area. But again, let's go ahead and get through this weekend first with our temperatures in the 90s. Back to you.
Thank you, Star. In Mount Vernon, celebrating the 4th at St. Paul's Church, founded at
6th, I'm John Muller.
And I'm Star Harvey. It turns into a weather alert because heat can be dangerous. Heat kills across the U.S., and we need to make sure we take care of ourselves and others.
Yes, and we're not just talking today, Kirsten. We're looking at the possibility of another heat wave.
Yeah, in it for the long haul.
Yeah, and that heat wave being temperatures of 90 to place, but we will see some of that burn off. We're already seeing it here across the city with some sunshine returning to the area. Our top story going to be the fact that we are not just dealing with some of those sizzling temperatures, about 10 degrees above where they should be for this time of the year, but also those soupy conditions. I call it the air that you can wear. So, of course, watches and warnings in full effect. They do go through about 8 p.m. this evening, and that is because we are expecting our heat indexes, what it feels like, to stretch anywhere from about 95 degrees to 100 degrees, and that's going to be for all of this highlighted orange area. It's going to also give us the chance at an excessive heat warning, and this is going to include Somerset County, Middlesex, Monmouth, as well as Mercer. We could see those heat indices reach anywhere from about 100 to 110 degrees. So again, plan for a day where things could be dangerous in the heat department. Temperatures this morning, we are getting a nice launch pad. It is an indication for where we are headed getting into our afternoon. Temp stretching, I'd say, from the mid to upper 70s. We do have a few 80s building in there across the Jersey Shore. Our humidity, no matter where you are today, you will feel it across the tri-state. We are in the 90 percentile for a lot of the area. What that means for you at home is that it will feel oppressive getting out of the doors. Those showers continuing to push off to the northeast, but again, we do still have the chance for some spot showers and storms making their way across the forecast. Otherwise, 92 degrees in the city today. If you're in the suburbs, you could get a little bit of a break. Temperatures still reaching into the 80s. I'll have more details on what the wrap of your weekend looks like in addition to your 7-day coming coming up. For now, back to you.
Oh, it is those feel-like temperatures. Thank you, Star. Everybody loves to stretch out that holiday weekend vibe, right? Getting to the beach, though, sometime on it.
Dog days.
Yes, the dog days of summer, they are here, and we're potentially looking at another heat for first one for the summer season last month. So we'll see if we make it to our second for this season moving into the rest of this weekend. As for right now, look at these temperatures. Good morning out in East Seatocket, 75 degrees. Good morning across North Point. You're at 75. We're waking up across portions of Connecticut with our temperatures in the mid to upper 70s as well. Now, in addition to all of our heat advisories and warnings, we do have an air quality alert in place, and this will carry on through 11 o'clock tomorrow evening. And why? Because we do have some air issues where we can have those pollutants that can be aggravating for anyone who does have those respiratory issues, but also our elderly and are extremely young. It is going to stretch from North Jersey all the way through South Jersey. So if you're in a highlighted gray area, something to watch for. In addition to that, our air quality index is sitting at a moderate. We will see that level jump up to the orange, which is unhealthy for some, for those of us that do have the respiratory issues. Otherwise, we do see our radar clearing up again with the heat tips for today. This is posted on my social media accounts. Go ahead and find it there and make sure to read through it. It can be very helpful when dealing with temperatures that can be extreme. Back to you.
Star, thank you. Up Washington, D.C., prepping for NATO's summit that's coming up this week.
And the Ukraine is on everybody's mind. Hear from the Secretary General of NATO. That's next.
The bake business is not an easy one. 1 in 5 bakeries end up
on that light show there. Historians note it has been erupting since 425 BC. Residents on the eastern side of Sicily, they're told to be
Stromboli, also erupting. I love that name. I love Stromboli.
Hungry.
Yep, Italian officials there keeping an eye on that volcano, but aren't expecting anything.
This one not expected to impact us in any way, not coming up the East Coast, but definitely we've got our turn coming with the hurricane season upon us.
Yeah, you know, I'm anticipating it at least. You know, our hurricane season did on June 1st and does carry through November 30th, and we're not even at those peak months. So to see what has happened or transpired with Beryl, extremely impressive in my opinion here. We do show that it has downgraded to a tropical storm. Beryl does sit off to the northwest, northwest, a lot going on here, northwest of the Yucatan Peninsula. Now, what I do want to show you is the track, the storm track, and what's to come moving into portions of next week. We will continue to see that it will move up to portions of, I'd say, the Gulf here, and we are expecting it to re-intensify as a Category 1 storm before actually making landfall. And according to our track now, expected to make landfall in Texas near Corpus Christi, moving into the early hours of, I'd say, next week on Monday. So again, if you do have any family or friends that do sit along the area, the Gulf Coast, or even through portions of the South here, I'd say Mississippi, Louisiana, making sure to just go ahead and check on them because we are expecting that storm to make its way inland as well. We do have a few tropical storm issues in place, not just a hurricane watch, but also a storm surge watch. It is going to stretch up the Gulf Coast here of Texas, this Texas border here, stretching all the way south of Corpus Christi and near the Houston area. And we're expecting this to continue. It's in effect now. We haven't had a date that it does lift, but we'll continue to keep all eyes on it. We're not expecting that Beryl will impact us here across the coast here. We are expecting, however, that we will see some issues with our own wet weather and, yes, some extreme heat as well. We have a trough in place aiding and not just our cloud cover today, but also some of those storms firing up, stationary front lifting across the area. We do have a low pressure system and a front sitting here on our synoptics, and that will slowly but surely impact us as well, getting through portions of our weekend. As for today, our biggest issues will be the heat. We are seeing our air temperatures in the 80s, stretching through the 90s, not just for our island, the boroughs, but also for portions of Jersey and the Hudson Valley. Important to note that these numbers here, these 80s and 90s, are our air temperatures, not what it feels like outdoors. When we take that humidity, we mix all that together, it does give us a feel like our heat indexes, where we are expecting them to stretch anywhere from the mid 90s and go all the way possibly to 110 degrees, depending on on where you are. We did have a break in the clouds today, but we can expect with that sunshine in place to get a spot shower or two across the area depending on where you are. Otherwise, tomorrow we do dry out. It will still continue with the heat. I talked about another heat wave that could be possible moving into Monday. And then by the time we get to the middle of next week, I can tell you that we are expecting to see a little bit more of some unsettled weather. But this heat not really going anywhere. 80s and 90s will continue across the map. Back to you.
Weather alert because
Yes.
of the conditions of the air, right?
Yes, we're looking at extreme heat. We also have an advisory in place for the air quality.
Yeah.
So a lot to go on through the first half of our weekend. Top of the area is starting off with that thick and heavy cloud activity, but we will see some breaks in that and we'll get some sunshine coming through. That does help in our temperatures going ahead and jumping about 10 degrees above their normal for some of the area. And with those temperatures jumping up and the humidity in place, we are going to have some issues here with our heat indexes. I want to talk about what's happening across all of the highlighted area. So if you're in the orange zone, the Hudson Valley, portions of northwest Jersey stretching across the boroughs and yes, into Nassau County, you have a heat advisory in place, and this does go until this evening because we could see what it feels like outside to get anywhere between 95 to 100 degrees. South of the area, we're talking central, portions of central stretching through South Jersey, even hotter. We're talking excessive heat warning where we could see those temperatures stretch anywhere from about 100 to 110 degrees for our heat indexes. Either way, temperatures right now in the 70s across the board. Our humidity on the high side. If you're heading out along the coast today, note that this will be the cool spot. Temperatures not just across the South Shore but also the Jersey Shore there in the 70s as well as the 80s. If you're in the city, expect temperatures to top off at about 92 degrees, and we will have that south-southwest wind. That's what's helping bring in all of that warmth there from the Gulf. I'll have more details, including on the spotty shower chances today and your 7-day forecast. All that coming up. For now, back to you.
All right, thanks for staying on top of it, Star.
Or I'd say an early dinner. It's going to be best indoors because of our heat. We do have a weather alert in place, and it does involve what we are experiencing today in the weather department. I can tell you our temperatures with a southwest wind going to be jumping into the 80s and 90s for a lot of us. We will have a few 70s sprinkled, especially along our coastlines. We do have a lot going on here on our synoptic map. Our radar is going to show some of that precipitation we had move across the area this morning, moving off to the north and east. We do still have a chance for some pop-up showers. A lot of that to do not just with our stationary front, but also a trough sitting very close to our region here. We will see some relief in terms of the humidity, but likely not to arrive until I'd say this cold front sitting out to the west passes through our area, which could happen anywhere between tonight and moving through the early hours of tomorrow. So for tonight, still expect a warm evening to be on tap here. Temperatures not dropping too far for a lot of the area. We're going to see them down to the 70s. So I'd say mid to upper 70s for a lot of the area. We do get a break tomorrow from the rain. Again, our front will have passed, and yes, that's going to help in dropping us down with not just that rain chance, but also our humidity. Humidity values looking so much better tomorrow. We're going to be on the drier side when we look at our dew points as well. So leaving behind the oppressive conditions and saying hello to some drier weather. By Monday, all bets are off. The heat will return, but the humidity, we are expecting it to sit on the lower side. Here's a look at your 7-day forecast. 90-degree temperatures for 3 consecutive days. You know what that means? That means a heat wave potentially. And then by the middle of the week, expect a slight drop in temperatures with another chance at some unsettled weather. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Star. So in Mount Vernon, they were celebrating the 4th at St. Paul's Church.